Today, we're not just telling a story, we are pulling back the curtain on one of the most profound scripts ever written. We're diving deep into the story of Joseph, a family drama so intense, so full of betrayal and hope, it feels like it was crafted by a master screenwriter. And our job, together, is to find the unseen director's hand in every single scene.
But let's start with a question that really gets to the heart of this entire narrative. And maybe our own lives, too. When everything just stops, when life hits that pause button and you're stuck in that quiet, empty space, who's writing what comes next? That feeling of being paused is exactly where this story finds its true beginning.
So what's this whole drama really about? Well, at its core, it's this epic clash between two massive forces. On one side, you have the calculated, bitter malice of human beings, and on the other, this overarching, often mysterious plan of a higher power, what we call divine providence. It's a story about how our worst intentions, what people plan for harm, can collide with a grander design meant for good. It's the idea that a greater purpose can be woven even from the threads of our deepest betrayals. Okay. So let's set the scene for Act 1. We open in the Valley of Hebron, and the thing that kicks this whole story off, the inciting incident, it isn't some huge battle or a big declaration. Nope, it's something much quieter, much more personal. It's a piece of clothing, a coat given to a 17-year-old kid that will somehow set in motion a plan to save nations.
You have to understand that this was not just any coat. The Kidanet Pasem, this was a coat for royalty. The long sleeves were a statement. They meant, I don't do manual labor. So picture this. His 10 older brothers are out in the fields, toiling under the sun. And here comes Joseph, dressed like a prince. It wasn't just a gift. It was a constant wearable reminder of their father Jacob's blatant favoritism. Every time they saw that coat, they saw their own irrelevance.
And you can just hear the venom in their whisper. Look, here comes that dreamer. That wasn't some fond nickname. It was a curse. It was everything they resented about him all wrapped up in a single word. His special status, plus this bad habit he had of tattling on them, well, it had already planted these deep, bitter seeds of hatred. The conflict was already simmering, long before the real drama even started. So if that coat was the kindling, Joseph himself is about to pour gasoline all over it. Whether he's just naive or a bit arrogant, who knows? But he's about to share something that's going to push this family tension right to the breaking point. He has not one, but two dreams, and he tells them both. First, he dreams that their bundles of grain out in the field are all bowing down to his bundle. I mean, subtle, right? But he doesn't stop there. He then dreams that the sun, the moon, and 11 stars, basically his dad, his mom, and all 11 of his brothers, are bowing down to him. The message could not be clearer. One day, all of you are going to serve me. And the reactions? Oh, they tell you everything. His brothers just explode. You think you're going to reign over us, they sneer, just filled with rage and jealousy. Even his father, Jacob, chews him out in public. But behind closed doors, the text says Jacob kept the matter in his heart. While the brothers saw nothing but a spoiled brat, their father saw the unsettling possibility that this might be something more. And here's the key insight. What looks like teenage arrogance, just a foolish lack of self-awareness, is actually a crucial plot device. As script consultants, we'd call Joseph's immaturity the divine fire accelerant. It's the very tool the unseen director uses to push the characters into their next world-altering scene. And that brings us to the climax. This is the moment where all that simmering hatred, all that jealousy, finally boils over into a violent conspiracy. The brothers see their chance to get rid of the dreamer and his dreams, once and for all. So Jacob sends Joseph on a simple errand to check on his brothers. But the journey itself is part of the script. He gets lost, which seems like a random detail, until a man just happens to find him and points him in the right direction. See, this isn't a chance encounter. It's a plot point. It's Providence making sure Joseph ends up exactly where he needs to be to meet his destiny. The moment they spot that colorful coat in the distance, the plot is hatched. Their first instinct? Murder. But then you see the different personalities at play. Reuben, the oldest, is too weak to stand up to them, so he suggests throwing Joseph in a pit, secretly planning to rescue him later. Then Judah, always the pragmatist, sees a business opportunity. Why get blood on our hands, he says, when we can make some money off him? 20 shekels of silver. That was the price they put on their own brother's life. The standard price for a slave.
They rip that coat off of him, haul him out of that dark pit, and sell him into slavery.
So what's the pit all about? It's not just a hole in the ground. From a narrative perspective, it's a divine test. It's a moment of crisis designed not to destroy Joseph, but to reveal the truth in everyone's heart. It exposes the brothers' raw hatred, Reuben's weakness, Judah's cold-hearted greed, and it marks the beginning of the long, hard road they would all have to travel toward repentance. So Joseph is gone, and now the story shifts from the crime to its devastating fallout. And it's here that the script reveals a terrible, poetic irony, showing how the cycle of deception always comes back around. You have to remember Jacob's backstory. Decades earlier, he wrapped his arms in goatskins to trick his blind father Isaac and steal his brother's blessing. Now, fast forward. His own sons dip Joseph's precious coat in goat's blood to deceive him into thinking his favorite son has been ripped apart by a wild animal. The deceiver becomes the deceived. The sin of the father is revisited on him in the most crushing way possible. And this is Jacob's response. It's a cry of absolute, soul-shattering grief. He tears his clothes, puts on sackcloth, and he refuses to be comforted by anyone. The lie his sons told him doesn't just break his heart, it completely shatters his will to live. It's a devastating look at the ripple effect of their sin. All right, so let's pull the camera back for the final act. We've seen the human malice, the raw pain, the terrible deception. But this is where the unseen director starts to reveal the real purpose behind it all, showing us that this story was never just about one broken family. And here it is. This is the great reversal, the central truth of this entire story. The moment Joseph is sold to Potiphar in Egypt, it feels like the end. It feels like total defeat. But it's not. The pit, the betrayal, the slavery, that was the necessary, painful, terrifying path that led to the throne. It wasn't the end of his story. It was the beginning of his ascent. And this is it. This is the thesis statement for the whole drama, delivered years later by Joseph himself to the very brothers who sold him. He looks at them, not with revenge, but with this incredible understanding. He finally sees the whole script. He sees both their evil intents and God's greater purpose, realizing that God wove their malice into a beautiful tapestry of redemption. That is radical forgiveness, seeing a story that's bigger than your own pain. And so we end right where we began, with a question for you. When life has you in a pit, when you feel betrayed, sold out, or trapped in your own kind of prison, how do you hold on to a vision for the future? How do you trust that even in the dark, an unseen hand might be writing a scene of redemption that you just can't see yet?